If you've been throwing yourself at OCD's fears and you're wondering why nothing is working, the solution is simple, but it's not very obvious. The problem is not your bravery, because many people with OCD already are incredibly brave. The real issue is that most of the time you're running into triggers by accident, while effective therapy requires something a little bit more: intentional practice and resisting OCD's rules. You see, there's a difference between doing an exposure and being exposed. I find that many have a difficult time telling the difference. I've heard many comments from different people. Hey, I visited this place and it was such an exposure to be there. I went to my in-laws' house. I went to a movie. I ate at this place. I this. I did an exposure. Oh man, this whole weekend was an exposure. And when I dive deeper, I realize, wait, did you tolerate the moment or did you actually do an exposure? Because yes, it was hard. We don't want to take away the value from that. But did you do anything to actually make it an exposure? We're going to go over what the difference is, and I'm going to show you how to do ERP effectively. Research shows that ERP, exposure and response prevention, is one of the most effective approaches for OCD. I'm going to show you these ingredients, and I'm going to use responsibility OCD as an example. And I know it may be not your specific OCD theme, so don't go away, because it's the same concept and it's going to work for your theme as well. So here's the catch. Just facing a fear is not enough. Being in a place or a moment or touching a thing is not an exposure unless you're making it into an exposure. This happens naturally through life. We run into things, we stumble into places, wherever, and we're like, you're triggered by something, you can't leave, you can't really do much about it, so you just kind of tolerate the situation. And it felt like a really big thing. Maybe you touched something you didn't mean to, or you had a thought, inappropriate thought at a time that you maybe shouldn't be having these thoughts. And your brain says, fix it, now. And a lot of people give into the compulsion. Oh man, this is so difficult for me to be here, but when I got home, I showered and I made sure everything was okay, and I checked the doors one more time, and like, okay, you were exposed, but you also did the compulsion. So really, I want your brain to learn something about these moments. And really what I want it to learn is that you are going to make something very purposeful. We can't plan for everything. We don't know what's going to happen, but you might know ahead of time, I'm going to this event. I know I'm going to have to sit on this specific couch. I know I'm going to go to church and possibly be triggered. I know whatever the specific theme is. They're going to give me this knife and I'm going to have to cut up a bunch of things at this event that I'm at. They don't know about my fear of knives, but I just got to do it anyway. Yeah, you could just tolerate it and get through the moment. But if you know ahead of time, we want to make it meaningful. So we're going to take out a piece of paper. We're going to write down what we think is going to happen. I'm going to get to that event. They're going to give me a knife. I'm going to be cutting up these vegetables for everybody else. Cool. So while I'm doing it, I'm going to make sure I'm holding the knife really tight. I'm not going to try to be careful. I'm not going to look around me to make sure no one's around me so I won't accidentally do something. I'm going to have phrases ready to go, whether it's a maybe, maybe not, or I don't know. We'll see. That'd be a cool experience if something like that happened. Maybe someone gets harmed. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Well, let's risk it. I'm going to be cutting up those vegetables, and I'm going to put a big smile on my face, and I'm going to be prepared. Any compulsions I feel like I'm going to do, I'm going to write out what I'm going to do instead. Stand close to the person next to me as I'm cutting these vegetables. I'm not going to ask for reassurance. I'm not going to try to stay safe. So when I get to that event, hopefully my plan comes into action and I do it. So what do we do for those times where we can't plan for it? Because you're going to be triggered. You're not going to be prepared for it, but that's not an exposure. So you have your go-to things. You know, this is difficult for me. I have no other choice. I got to be here. I got to touch this. I got to whatever. So in that moment, I've made a commitment to myself. If I am triggered, I'm doing something about it. And this is what I'm going to do. If it has to do with contamination, I'm leaning into that. I'm going to touch it, and I'm not washing my hands for 30 minutes, maybe 60 minutes, maybe never. You come up with a hypothetical plan beforehand. I know I'm going to go visit somebody's house, and my brain already says, don't sit on that couch, don't do this, don't eat the nuts that are on the table, don't blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to go sit on the couch. I'm going to go eat the nuts. I'm going to use all the responses. Maybe, maybe not. Sure, cool, awesome. This is great. Love this feeling. I'm turning it into an exposure because I can so simply go to that house and say, yep, not sitting on that couch. Nope, not eating those. Nope, not going to talk to that person. But yeah, I was exposed. No, not really. But we're also not looking for perfection. So if you you had a moment where you're like, I did an exposure, think through it, see what happened, see if there's any compulsions that were done, and then let's change it. Let's say, hey, let's just learn from this experience for next time. If I could go back, what would I do differently? Ooh, I wouldn't ask for reassurance. I wouldn't hold that knife the way I was holding it because I was being a little too careful. I wouldn't text and say, are there going to be any kids there? Or whatever it is. Learn from each experience. So we try to make it as structured as possible so your brain knows what it's going to be doing. I always make sure there's some type of action that is being done, something I'm touching, something I'm thinking about, some person I'm talking to. Maybe I'm doing jumping jacks, whatever your action happens to be. I'm reading my scriptures. And then what's the response? What statements am I using? Am I going to be using the uncertainty statements? Am I going to be agreeing with them? And then what compulsions am I going to purposely not do or delay doing the best that I can? Got the action, got the responses. I got myself not doing these compulsions. And it's going to feel so uncomfortable. But I got to sit there long enough. This anxiety will drop most of the time on its own. But also we know if it doesn't drop, that's okay too. Because your brain is still learning something. Because anxiety is not the indication that something is wrong. Unless you can see immediate danger right now, which oftentimes we can't. I know exposures are difficult. Whether it's the lowest thing ever or it's the most severe. They're hard to face your fears. It feels unsafe at times to know exactly what to do. If you have a therapist or you're doing this on your own, my Master Your OCD course can help support both of those areas. I'm going to link that down in the description. I want you to start thinking about that. When you're moving throughout your day, am I being exposed or am I doing an exposure? If I find day after day after day, I'm being exposed to something, but I'm not really making it meaningful, what can I do tomorrow to plan for that? I know I take that elevator every day at work and I'm just trying to get through it. I'm not touching the buttons. Tomorrow, I'm touching that darn button as fast as I can. I'm going to put a big old smile. I'm going to hope someone jumps in that elevator, that it's just me and them all alone, and let my thoughts run wild. Whatever happens, happens. I'm going to put a big smile. I'm going to say, yeah, maybe something bad will happen. Maybe not. I don't know. I hope it takes a long time. I want to be on here forever. That would be amazing. Instead of just like, get through it, get through it, get through it, get through it. Oh, that was an exposure. No. Let's try to make it more meaningful. Don't be perfect. Use it as a learning opportunity for yourself. Whether you did exposures, whether you didn't, whether you did compulsions, whether you didn't. Learn, learn, learn. Live life. That's important. Let's live life. There's another video here I'd love for you to watch to help enhance your skills even more. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. So while I'm doing it, I'm going to make sure I stand close to the next person.